Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to week 5 of the challenge. I'm wrapping up our kind of nutrition series on macros and carbs, protein, all of that today with talking about micronutrients and supplements. So, kind of taking more of a deep dive into more of those like smaller mineral macro needs that we need to kind of complete and balance nutrition throughout the day. So general guidance here, if you're focusing on a pretty well-balanced diet, you have a lot of color on your plate, you're including a lot of fruits and vegetables, different protein and whole grains, you're getting a lot of your macronutrients and minerals already. But to break it down a little bit further, you do have um, two sets of vitamins that are considered either fat soluble or water soluble. And then we have like a set minerals as well that we're kind of getting from our foods in addition to those main macros that we've been looking at. So our fat soluble vitamins mean that they are like best absorbed if you have a source of fat with them. So things like vitamins A, D, E, and K are going to be considered our fat-soluble vitamins. Our water-soluble vitamins means that they're absorbed with water. So that's going to be your vitamin C, and then all of your vitamin B, all of your B vitamins. And then we have additional minerals that we'll find in foods. And you can see those listed here. There's a wide range that we can find in a lot of our food sources. Most particular that come to mind are going to be iron, calcium, potassium, sodium, and magnesium. Other ones like phosphorus, zinc, copper, iodine, and selenium. Those are still minerals that we need, but when we think about the main ones that like MyFitnessPal and things like that track, it's going to be iron, calcium, potassium, sodium, and magnesium. But these all have different roles in your body. So your fat soluble vitamins in particular, well, both fat and water soluble vitamins are going to be very important for hormonal health, your bone and skeletal development, brain function, and your immune system. And then the minerals play also an important role in bone health. They play an important role in energy production, nerve function, and fluid balance. Um, so these would be some food sources of your different fat-soluble vitamins. Vitamin A, a lot of people may have heard like orange foods, and those are definitely a good source of vitamin A. Things like carrots, sweet potatoes, but also it's going to include like your dark green leafy vegetables, fatty fishes like your cod and salmon, and then a lot of your fruits like watermelon, cantaloupe, mango, and tangerines. Um, Vitamin D is going to be found in a lot of your fatty fishes like salmon. It can be fortified into some of your dairy products, but your most significant source of vitamin D is going to be the sunshine. So it is recommended that you have 10 to 15 minutes a day outside of direct sunlight for that vitamin D absorption. But I'm going to be pretty upfront with you. Vitamin D is probably one of the more common vitamin deficiencies that we see among our population. And that's just because we do spend so much more time indoors. So we're not getting a lot of that direct sunlight. And it's not a nutrient that's found commonly in a lot of foods. So it can be harder to get from a food source like um, unlike your other vitamins like A, E, and then as we talk about your B vitamins and stuff, those are pretty commonly found in a wide variety of foods. Vitamin E is going to be found in a lot of your nuts and seeds and cooking oils, healthy fats like avocado, and again, your dark green leafy vegetables. And then vitamin K, also going to be mostly found in your dark green leafy vegetables. Your water soluble vitamins like vitamin C, a lot of your fruits and vegetables are going to contain vitamin C, but particularly your citrus fruits. And then your cruciferous vegetables as well, like broccoli, cauliflower, kale, and Brussels sprouts. And then your B vitamins, your most significant source of those are going to be like animal proteins, but you can also find them in a lot of your nuts and seeds, lentils, beans, whole grains, those type of things. Again, your fat and water soluble vitamins are really important for hormonal health, bone skeletal development, can also be really helpful with like muscle development. So as we kind of talk through the rest of these slides, the one thing I want to kind of really emphasize is like your best source of these type of vitamins is going to come from the natural food source itself. We'll talk about supplements here more towards the end, but we don't really need to supplement with a ton of extra B vitamin and things like that. If we're having a really good balanced diet throughout the day or even throughout the week, where we're getting a lot of color, a lot of different types of foods in our diet, we're going to be hitting kind of the targets for what we need for these vitamin sources. And then minerals. These type of minerals like iron, calcium, sodium, potassium, they're going to be found in really like a lot of your animal products within that muscle, kind of the organ that you're eating there. So again, you're going to see animal proteins are where you're going to get a lot of these different minerals from. Potassium is going to be found in a lot of like your potatoes, dark green leafy vegetables, tomatoes, lentils, beans, bananas. Particularly like selenium, zinc, magnesium, and iodine. Those are ones that we don't particularly hear as much about. But again, animal proteins, beans, lentils, nuts, and seeds are going to be really good sources of those nutrients. And again, these are going to be really important for like your bone and skeletal development, particularly calcium for women. You know, as we age and hit like the perimenopause or menopause stage, that can start to have a really big impact on your calcium stores and can impact like your bone development. So if you'd like more information on, particularly if you're in that stage of life, what your calcium needs are, I can definitely send me a separate message and we can definitely walk through that if you need any additional supplementation. But again, if you're eating a pretty well balanced diet, you have a really colorful plate, you don't need to supplement with a lot of these extra vitamins and minerals. There are a few that I would recommend considering adding in. Creatine in particular, it has really a lot of studies are coming out with not only the impact and the benefit it can have for like your muscle development, but like your brain health as too. Like clearing brain fog, more mental clarity. You know, I've been myself taking it for about a year now, and I do feel like I have more alertness, less brain fog, and things like that, thinking a little bit more clearly. Standard for that is like 5 milligrams for the creatine. And so a lot of times you can get it in like these little individual packets, or like 1 scoop equals your amount. If y'all are interested in like different brands for that, pop your questions into the chat and I'm glad to share the ones that I take personally. Another supplement I really think most of us should be taking is the vitamin D3 supplement. Again, because we're not getting enough of that sun, or most often not a lot of like that direct sun exposure. And this truly can have a huge impact on your mental health, particularly as we're going into these colder, darker months. If you're low in vitamin D, there has been associations between like vitamin D and things like seasonal depression and depression kind of as a whole. So during the summer months when we have more sunshine, we're outdoors more, I would recommend taking like 1,000 milligram capsule about every other day. But in these colder, darker months, you would benefit from taking that 1,000 milligram capsule daily. Because it is a fat soluble vitamin, it is best to take that supplement, that vitamin D pill, or supplement with a source of fat in the morning. So essentially like having it with your breakfast in the morning or your coffee if you're using a little bit of creamer in your coffee. A general multi-daily vitamin definitely doesn't hurt. It contains a small portion of all of those vitamins and minerals we've kind of discussed earlier. So it can kind of help close the gap on nutrients you may be missing for that day. And then another is a pre and probiotic supplement. This is in particular really great for your gut health. Pre and probiotics help keep the gut moving and then also help promote growth of good bacteria in your gut. So when you have a healthier gut, better good bacteria in your stomach, that's really going to help improve your immune system, can help reduce chronic inflammation in the gut, and can also help with protecting things like stomach or colon cancer. So don't have to do a ton of like the B vitamin complex supplements or anything like that. I'd say really just these for the key ones that I would do in addition to having like a healthy balanced diet throughout the day. And I like this little graph here because it kind of breaks down what we call eat the rainbow. So it goes back to like the more colorful your diet is, you're going to get different benefits from each of those from having that more variety. So your white brown foods tend to help better with immune system, good colon, healthy heart. Orange and yellow foods, again, heart healthy, great for the immune system, really great for helping to lower your cholesterol. Your purple and red foods also help with lowering cholesterol, great heart health. And then your green foods help improve digestion, immune system, and can be helpful in preventing cancers. So hopefully, as we're talking about the different food sources of these vitamins, we're talking about eating the rainbow. You can see when you have a good variety, you're kind of like getting double of the benefit when you have more color on your plate. So my challenge to you over this next week with week 5 is maybe making sure each meal has at least 2 different colors on that plate so you know that you're getting a good variety of food or a good variety of your vitamins and minerals. So as always, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to drop a message into the chat or send me a direct message if you want to do it more privately. Hope everyone has a good evening.